Thank you for joining us today. I am Judith Cooper, I'm the Performance Sport Development Officer, and with me is my colleague Andrea Heron, Communications, Engagement and Training Lead. We're going to discuss some funding streams today that may be suitable for our members, including sports clubs, charities, schools and community groups. As Northern Ireland's main disability sports charity, we have secured funding from a range of sources including government, trusts, corporate sponsorship and donations. One of the first things to do before applying is to make sure that your club is eligible. To do this, you must ensure that, if needed, you have a constitution, run AGMs, have committee members, a bank account which is signed accounts, and a sound financial process, a club development plan and charitable status. What you will need to have in place may vary depending on whether you're a charity, club, school or community group, etc. If you are a club, you may also wish to consider club mark registration or accreditation. A great source of funding for sports clubs and charities may be through your local council area. The best way to approach this is through contacting your local council. A full list of contact details is on this slide, and if you have any issues contacting your local council, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us and we will do our best to help. The type of grants available may include community development grants, grant support schemes, sports development grants and grants for active and healthy communities. An example of council funding may be the Everybody Active Small Grants Programme. The awards must be used for costs directly related to increasing participation. The activities must be a recognised Sport NI sport or physical activity, and guidelines may vary by council area. Another grant to explore is the Mary Peters Trust. This is to assist talented individuals with grants towards a preparation programme and competitions. The grant is for competitions of proven ability at junior and senior levels whose standing judged against world, British and Irish standards indicates potential to compete with credit of international level or with distinction in British and Irish championships. Athletes can apply through their mainstream governing body or Disability Sport NI, but you cannot apply as an individual. There are 2 closing dates available through Disability Sport NI, September and March, and you can only make 1 submission per year. The awards will not be given in retrospect and the funding level can be affected by the number of applications. The awards may be between £100 and £1,000. I will now pass you over to my colleague Andrea, who will discuss grant tracker and grants available, as well as corporate sponsorship and fundraising.
Hi, my name is Andrea Heron and I'm the Communications, Engagement and Training Lead for Disability Sport NI. Today I'm just going to have a bit of a chat with you about options for corporate sponsorship and how to attract corporate sponsors, give a brief introduction to Grant Tracker, and then also talk about some grants that you may be eligible as a charity, school or community group. Firstly, one of the most important things when looking at corporate sponsorship is really to do your research first. It's so important that there is a mutual connection between yourself and whoever the corporate organisation is that you're contacting and approaching. You want to make sure that your values and interests align and that the brands will be complementary towards each other. When looking at it, check that they are geographically relevant and that whatever their product is or whatever they're trying to sell is actually relevant to the area that most of your supporters and audience will be based. And I guess most corporates will want to see some sort of a return on investment, whether that be through increased marketing opportunities for themselves, an opportunity to potentially meet some of your service users and promote their offering, and also then, it looks good for their brand to be associated with yourselves. A great way to engage with a corporate sponsor is to engage them with your brand, let them know a bit more about what you do and introduce them to the human side of what you do as a charity. Let them meet some of your service users and give them great case studies on the value that you've had on some of your service users' life. There's no one size fits all for corporate sponsorship. Sometimes it could just be down to that person having a particular interest in whatever it is that you offer, whether, for example, it's sports, or working with people with disability. It just depends on who the people are within that organisation and how you can come up with something that will particularly resonate with them. One of the big things is really do your research though. Try to figure out who the people are in the organisation. You can do that through using the likes of LinkedIn, or as well just searching through websites. and try to find a way of approaching them in a softer way, whether it be even through an introduction from mutual connections. The big thing that is so important is just don't overthink it. Do get out there and actually approach people. Until you really start speaking to corporates, you're not going to know where their main interests lie. And just remember that everybody is human too, and the biggest thing is just trying to find mutual connection. A great tool for charities in Northern Ireland for finding funding opportunities is a tool called Grant Tracker, run through NICFA. It actually lists all of the different opportunities for grants, who's eligible to apply, what the level of funding is, and what sort of areas they're interested in funding. It's approximately £100 per year to use Grant Tracker, and from that you can use it as a search tool. It also lets you know whenever different dates are coming up for grants. If you're a member of NICFA, it costs approximately about £100 per year to join Grant Tracker, and it's a great tool just for keeping on top of what grants are actually available. And there's grants listed on there for charities, youth and community groups, schools, and in very rare occasions individuals as well. Some of the things that you can do in Grant Tracker, you can use a search filter option, which allows you to look through different funding topics, geographical regions, and what the level of funding required is. You can set up email reminders, so a reminder of your emails of your track schemes, and you can do it for 9 weeks, 3 weeks, or 1 week before the deadline. You can also have weekly emails with details of new and reviewed schemes, and you can get an email on the first of each month of all schemes in Grant Tracker. You can manage your applications through identifying funders, track your funding schemes, and store your funding applications. And as I had mentioned previously, there are different levels of costings. If you're a NICFA member, it's approximately £100 per year. If you're not a NICFA member, it's approximately £145 per year. So I'm just going to briefly touch on some of the more popular grants that charities would tend to come across in Northern Ireland, and ones that are quite accessible in terms of applying for. So you have the National Lottery Fund Awards for All. It can range between £300 and £10,000, and it's for voluntary and community organisations as well as public sector organisations. It has a rolling deadline, and it provides funding for up to 1 year to support your work with local people to bring about positive change in the community. So this can be a great way maybe to trial or demonstrate a pilot programme before going in for further funding across a couple of years. The great thing with the National Lottery is there's different levels, so you can then go on to look at other granting schemes, including their People in Communities and Empowering Young People grants, which you can then get up to £500,000 across a couple of years, and it would be for much bigger programmes with bigger outcomes. You also have BBC Children in Need, their small grants programme, which again can go up to £10,000 per year, although this can then also go across 3 years. Again, you do have to be a charity to be able to apply for this, and there will be quite strict criteria in terms of who the grant is actually benefiting. You have other smaller grant schemes which can go up to the likes of £5,000, the likes of the Black Santa Appeal or Ulster Garden Villages. You have the Santander Foundation Discovery Grant, the Halifax Foundation Community Grant Programme, Lord Taverners. Cash for Clubs is worth a mention as well, because you don't actually have to be a registered charity as long as you are a sports club that's registered with your national governing body, and the funding size of that can be up to £1,000. You have the Coca-Cola Thank You Fund, the Asda Foundation Community Grants, John Muir's Foundation, as well as that, most local supermarkets will also have a community champion, so it's always worth approaching maybe your local Tesco's, Sainsbury's, Asda, and just asking, is there a community champion that you could speak to about potentially fundraising in your area? So this has been quite a brief snapshot of the grants that are available. There are a number of different trusts out there as well, including the likes of the Comic Relief Community Cash, the Wolfson Foundation, Victoria Homes Trust, and Esme Fairbairn Foundation. If anyone would be interested in exploring what other grants are available, please do contact us at Disability Sport and I. We're very happy to support our member groups or any local sports clubs or charities that are interested in trying to access funding. And we'll be happy to have a wee bit of a chat with you about what grants are actually out there and available that you could tap into. Thank you for your time.